This episode is brought to you by Brewy, a coffee that nourishes your mind and body. Brewy is an organic coffee blend loaded with 6 adaptogenic mushrooms, so you can enjoy the benefits of superfoods while being fueled in your day-to-day life. To receive your Brewy discount code, tag a friend in this episode's coming soon post. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the UR Pod Usage Rate. We're here with just Mr. Baz today, and the big fella's had to go to a committee meeting for the cricket, which starts in a couple of weeks, so won't have him. But how are you, Baz?
Yeah, going well. Really enjoyed the first round of the NBL, and keen to get in and have a bit of a chat.
Yeah, very good. Very good. You were good on the golf course today.
Yeah, look, I think my fantasy game and golf game correlate a little bit. I seem to have one really good hit every now and again.
Fallen down.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wasn't sure what was happening there to you. Kind of distracted me a little bit. Kind of have one good hit, and then either just can't put it all together. That was kind of like my fantasy game on the weekend.
Yeah, it's bloody frustrating,
how it goes.
golf, isn't it? But fantasy can be just as much so. Let's start with a bit of a. We'll go with our scores first. So, what did you come up with for the week?
Yeah. I finished on 401, a frustrating 401, and a ranking of 1,116.
Where's that put your percentage was?
I can't tell you that.
1,000.
Yeah, 1,000.
You're up there. You're up there.
Yeah, not too bad. How about yourself? How'd you
go? The leader's on 454, so you're not too far away. You're not. I scored 434, which leaves me with an overall rank of 117, which I'm pretty happy with from the get-go. There's just a couple of things that let me down from the top teams. I didn't have Delhi, which I thought I was probably going to go with early. I ended up going with Jordan Usher instead, so that was pretty much where the difference came from for me, unfortunately. But anyway, live and die by it in round one.
Yeah.
Usher was good in game one.
Yeah, it was pretty hard to gauge. It's pretty hard to gauge there because like someone might have a really good game one, like Usher, and then his game two kind of evened down a little bit. Like the 35 points in game one against the Jack Jumpers was unbelievable, but then in the second game he got his foul trouble. He really only got his points in what was essentially just the most garbage of garbage time you'll see. So that can be really hard to gauge, can't it?
Yeah. Well, it turned out that the Jack Jumpers were the second easiest team for guards to score against, and South East Melbourne were fourth easiest, but only 4.5 points difference in between them from the guard spot. So that was interesting that he didn't score so many against South East, and neither did Cotton. Yeah, it was a bit of an interesting one. We'll have to wait and see what he can continue to do. Jordan Usher, they've obviously only got the one game this week, but we'll see what he can churn out. What was your biggest takeaway of the round?
It was probably that he's so hard to judge a player on one game. I was really happy with Friday night, and I was fuming at Mitch Creek. I had the captaincy on Mitch Creek. So why didn't I do it? Why didn't I get Bryce Cotton in? Why didn't I just play it safe? I put it on a bloke that was injured. Like didn't play much in the blitz. But for some reason, I just thought Creaky's my man. I like his schedule. I'm just going to put it on him for essentially the first two rounds. But I was fuming, absolutely fuming. Sleepless night Friday night it was. And then turns around game 2 and Creaky plays really well, and Usher struggles. So it's kind of a bit of a roller coaster there that you kind of got to take it on. Essentially, yeah, what you've seen put together, but yeah, really tricky to judge off one game. Like there's guys that, yeah, how bad some guys had really bad games early on, and they only played one game in the round, and maybe they might have improved if they played 2. So yeah, really tricky, really hard to gauge. That was probably my takeaway. Don't judge players too harshly after one game.
Yeah, absolutely. It was kind of easy to fall in the trap of the blitz for some guys as well. I know a few people didn't listen to us and went the Isaac White route. He is a blitz guy and has been for a few years now. So a bit disappointing that some people still went with him. But anyway, that was up to them. For me, something that I found real interesting, I've crunched a fair few numbers. Brisbane were the second highest scoring team, best scoring for centres, but then also had the most points scored against them of any team. Well, they only obviously played Adelaide, but like that seemed to be where a lot of the points came from. I think that came from the guards from both teams not being overly effective. And I think it's probably something that's going to continue a little bit with Brisbane. So Bainesy's a big watch for me personally. They've got 2 games this week. They've got New Zealand and Cairns before they head off.
Yeah, Bainesy's my just continue to watch this space on him a little bit. Because he is that little bit cheaper than an import. And yeah, you did mention the favourable fixture for him a little bit. He was. I was going to mention him later on the scouting report. I'll put him down again because he's just that guy that I'm hoping it's not the scenario where I watch, and I'm too late.
Yeah.
I hope that at some point I'll pull the trigger, maybe hook Porty up sort of trade. But yeah, he's definitely one I'm just keeping an eye on. I don't know what it's going to look like yet, but if he can keep pumping out double doubles, you've seen that a double double is generally going to give you a score around the 30 mark.
Yeah,
you're obviously pitching in a little bit elsewhere, but it's generally a score of 30, which is a pretty good score. And Bainesy could probably average a double double. It wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, we scored 34 on the weekend. Obviously against Adelaide, and he's priced at that 240, and he's got a break even of 24. So you'd think he would absolutely piss that in this week. So here's your scouting report.
Yeah, here's my scouting report. But obviously we can touch on that later when we get up to it.
Yeah, well, we might as well go straight into it. Do you have anything more to talk about with Bainesy?
No, it was just mainly that he's a watch his space, and I wouldn't blame you for bringing him in this week with a favourable schedule. You and I spoke about today that you don't really get attached to players and you can trade them in and out as freely as you want. You can trade essentially 20% of your team.
Yeah, which is awesome. Like compared to the AFL world where you run.
I think it could really pay off.
Yeah, you run with 25 or whatever players, and you only get 2 trades a week.
So if it doesn't pay off, no issue for me.
Yeah, it's probably a bit of a risk-free one.
You could also consider that he goes 2-2, 1 game off, and then another set of 2. So yeah, I think
all the games to come.
Nice favourable fixture for him and give you a good look in.
Yeah. We do have to apologise a little bit for your internet. You're on tour at the moment, so you're working with some pretty sketchy stuff, but you're here and you're doing well. I've got Sam Menenga on my scouting report. The big man from Cairns rocked out a score of 23 last week. He's got a break even of -6. They've got 2 games this week against Southeast Melbourne and Brisbane. So he looks like he's that solid for his for a young guy, and played some really good minutes. They've got the 2 this week, and then he'll go up in price, and then they go away for a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see for me, I won't pick him up this week, but I'll have a good look at Sam Menenga and I may pick him up when they come back from the States. You're freezing up on me, all sorts of freezing. Anyway, so do you want to go on to your...
Yeah, I know. I was going to say, you probably had great analysis there. I missed all of it.
No, that's all right. You can listen back to
I
it, I'm
even
sure.
cut myself out.
Yeah, Sam Menenga, our man. Who's your hero, your hustling hero for the week?
Yeah. My hustler hero, I was really happy with. I traded him late. Did trade out Parker Jackson Cartwright for him. I know that sounds a bit funky considering Parker Jackson scored 57, but I went with a guy that played 2 games and turned out he was end up with the 5th highest score, and that was Will Cummings.
Yeah.
He's only in 2.2% of teams. He has a favourable schedule. He was loaded with turnovers, which I assume when Gary Brown comes back, I reckon they'll drop a little bit. But he looked good, and he has gone up in 166 teams that picked him up.
That's a considerable amount, isn't it? You're having a mare.
Schedule 2, so I really liked him. Yeah, I know this. Yeah, I'm sorry, mate. I'm trying.
No, that's all right. You're in the basement. That's all right. So, big fan of Will Cummings.
Yeah, Will Cummings.
Yeah, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about him later on. I had Ben Henshaw. I was bloody annoyed in the first game that he didn't play at all.
Yeah.
And then he came out yesterday and looked bloody unreal. So he's I love him because he's got the dual position, the forward and the guard. He's come out, he's played 1 game. It's dropped his break even down to -18. I can only imagine how far that would have dropped if he'd played the other game, even if he'd only scored 10 points or whatever in the other one. But I mean, they've only got the 1 game this week. And then next week he's gonna be making some serious money for the next couple of weeks, I reckon. So yeah, he was my hero because I was a little bit worried about him halfway through the round and thought maybe I'm gonna have to use 3 trades straight up.
Yeah, I did have a message ready to send you because obviously we had a bit of a chat and spoke about our teams and I brought him in. And then, yeah, when I kind of saw he didn't play round 1, I was fuming with you. But, geez, it was a good game too, and he's got to get more minutes. But, yeah, I certainly couldn't agree more with you there.
Yeah, he was real good to watch, and I was so happy that they continued to play him once the game blew out. I think he had 15 points or something at that stage, and he ended up with 24 in 24 minutes, which is pretty handy. So, and he didn't look like a slouch on the defensive end. So I think he'll continue to get minutes. Does that change when Ty Webster comes back into the fold? Probably, but he won't go back to the limited minutes that he had. Michael Harris had 15 minutes as well. So you'd think between those two, if they drop 5 minutes each, probably 10 minutes each, he's still looking at 14 minutes, which he can, based on that points per minute of 29, he's still going to be scoring 15, 16 points, which is nice.
And he's a bit of a cash grab for us. He'll go up in price for us, which would be great as well.
Yeah, that's the main reason he's my hero. Your brick boy?
That's what I want. My brick boy is Creaky. My brick boy is Creaky. I know you can't judge him on 1 game, but I was fuming.
Well,
put the captaincy on him. I put the captaincy on him. He was 1 board off a double-double, which would have got me like an extra 14 points or something, which would have put me just a little bit closer to a little bit closer to the leader. So yes. I was fuming with Creaky.
As they say, every moment matters.
Brick boy. He's got a break. Every moment matters. And they blew him out. He could have just put him on there. Just put him on for the fantasy players. Have a think about us people that had a captain as Creaky. They
Yep.
need to send the message out. But I was still a big fan of Creaky. But with a break even of 85, I'm trading him out this week. Even though they've got 2 games, I've traded him in for another guy, which I'll talk about when I get to my trades and the reason why. But with a break even of 85, he's going to go down in price. And it's certainly, I think that I'll be able to get him later with a few little moves that I've been able to make. So it's not the be-all and end-all for Creaky. But, oh, my gosh, I don't know if I can put the captaincy on him again, Hughes. I don't know if I can do it.
Probably wait till he's actually healed from an injury before you do that this time.
Yeah.
Funny.
Oh, mate, it was tough.
He's only just ahead on the break even of the old brick boy, Reece Vague. He scored 2 points.
Oh, don't.
I warned everyone. 0% of teams he should be in. He was on 8% of teams when I said that. And then for the round, he was only in 0.4% of teams. So most people listened, but the 0.4% of people that didn't sorted out.
You know they're not listening. You know they're not listening.
No,
probably the same people that have Craig Muller on their team as well.
Yeah, probably. Well, he's also
Angus
also shit too, isn't he?
And Angus Glover. Jeez. Probably the bloke that scored. What did you say? There was a bloke that scored 101. He probably had him.
Yeah, someone in our Jack Jumpers group. What did they score? I've got to scroll a long way down here. Geez, what's happened here? It's done something weird. It hasn't gone in order for me. It's gone in order of team value,
stiff.
which is weird. There we go. Scroll down. Someone scored 142. That's not good, is it?
They've probably got a team full of Jackies. The Jackies only played 1 game.
Let's have a look. No, they don't. They didn't have any Jackies. They've clicked autofill. They had the captaincy on Will McDowell White. They've definitely just clicked autofill. Golly.
Yeah, that's a definite autofill.
I've gone a similar direction to you for the Brick Boy. You went the second most expensive player in the game. I went the most expensive. Yes, he was my captain. Yes, I was pretty happy with his score. But considering, and this was the main reason, because these players, our hero and our Brick Boy, have to come from our teams for people who are listening. So my Brick Boy was Bryce Cotton. So he scored 62. That's obviously doubled. But at 466, get this, 466 for 62 points. Ariel Hukporti, 172 for 64 points. So he's nearly $300,000 more. I can get 2.5 Hukportis for Bryce Cotton. That can't happen. It cannot happen.
2 Hukportis.
Yep. One
sounds like my Macca's order.
Half Hukporti. But that hurt me. Like I could have got, I could have gone Delhi with that and then use that money elsewhere. It's just frustrating.
Yeah. How hard is it though? Like you're putting the guy that for the round was 4th overall, but there's also 1,164 people that agree with you. So he's been traded down of 10% of teams already.
Yeah.
And it has his break even of 50, which they say that is a 4% chance to get. So if you're like me and didn't start with Bryce Cotton, then you're probably going to be a chance to get him in a few weeks when he drops in price a little bit.
Yeah, and I'll probably get him back when he's on that string of twos. Does he have a string of twos?
Yeah, I think that's the way it'll go. But have a quick look. But
I've got
it
half
is
the schedule
interesting
at the moment.
That clearly shows. Yeah, no, he doesn't play many back-to-back twos games until later. He plays one in. He plays again in round 3. He plays again in round 6.
Oh, it's not until round 16, 17, is it? Yeah, okay. Oh, maybe we'll trade him out now and he can go and sit his little shitty 64 or whatever he got me, 62 down on the Busselton Pier. Bugger him.
Isn't it funny? Both our captains are our Brick Boys.
Yep. Yeah, we just wanted more.
A
lot of people had Bryce Cotton as their captain, but get me an extra 40 points or something and give me that jump on people that didn't have him as captain, like you.
Is it because he's priced so high? That's the issue, isn't it? That he's so
Yeah,
highly priced,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that
Like he
for
just
essentially,
he just let me down. The only other one that I could have potentially chucked up there was Bobby Clintman, who I bought in with Taron Armstrong going out. I was pretty hell bent on having one of those young Cairns guys, just to get that initial price rise from him. And then obviously Armstrong out, he's not going to go up until round 5. So I bought Clintman in. He only scored 15, so that was a bit annoying when I could have bought in. I did have Corin Galloway sitting there before that, and he wasn't great in the first game, but he was pretty good in the second game. And he's going to jump more in price than Clintman. So now I'm like, I could trade him out. I'm up in arms at the moment about what to do with trades. But what are you thinking you're going to do at this early point of the week?
well, I told you in the first podcast that I'd burn all my 3 trades by the first 3 rounds, and you told me I was being silly. But I think that it's valid. So I've gone Creaky down to Valentine.
Yep.
Valentine scored 36. He was
Mm-hmm.
only a handful of stats away from a double-double and a triple-double.
Yeah,
So he had pretty
triple
good
double
stat
extra
line.
10 points. Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah. And he plays 2 games this week and he plays 2 games next week. So my thinking there is I get the value for the next two rounds, and I lock Valentine in.
Yeah.
My next one was I went Usher down to Doyle, or Usher up to Doyle, sorry, because I saved a bit of money from the Creek trade. Doyle, I was looking at his stats before coming on. Last year, his lowest score was 29. So he doesn't, by the looks of it, he doesn't really have too many bad games, and he's probably going to be someone who's going to be pretty consistent. He pumped out a 37 in that first game, which was up there in one of the top scorers per game. So I'm bringing in Doyle. He also has a favourable fixture, plays 2 games this week and 2 games next week as well. So I'm kind of looking at them in two round blocks sort of thing. So those 2 I can both keep for the next two rounds.
Yeah.
And then I'm going the cash grab. I've gone from Lockie Albrick because of the money that I've saved, and I've bought in Hook Porty. Or obviously that break even, with based on how low his break even is. I'm just going for the cash grab.
Yeah, it's hard to pass up, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, and he's going to be on my bench for this game as well, because I'll have Tyler Cook on the court. But then I'll move him depending on how he goes. Hopefully, I know 2 games, small sample size. Hopefully, he keeps going well. They play a spade of 2, 2, and 2 in the next. Well, they play 3 rounds in a row of 2+ games. So, if anything, he'll probably come out of the team at the end of round 5.
Yep, and hopefully that for both of us, because I've got him as well, coincides with Luella Chill coming back, who's listed as November, I think. So round 4, 5, I think, for him. Yeah, like it. So you're going to use the 3. Just give them to
I'm
me.
going to use the 3.
Give them to me real quick again.
Creek to Valentine.
Yeah.
Usher to Doyle.
Yeah.
And Albrick to Hook 40.
Yeah, like it. Tick, tick, tick. Like it.
I like it too. But that's my Monday trade.
Yeah. Well, yeah, anything could change between here and Thursday. Are we looking at 7:30 again this Thursday? 5:30, so a little bit less time to figure that one out over in New Zealand. So we don't like it when New Zealand play that first game because it takes a couple of hours out of it. I mean, it's okay for us at the moment on school holidays, but if we're normally at work, we might be under the pump a little bit. Now, I've only got 2 at this stage. I'm unsure if I want to go with the third one or not. I think cash is vitally important, but I'm also like, am I going to want to pull triggers on 3 trades when the Cairns and New Zealand guys get back? Obviously, Parker Jackson Cartwright was unbelievable the other day, and then he'll go up in price at the end of round 4, so I look to get him in then. the Cairns guys, Taron Armstrong, go up in round 5 when they get back. So I'm just like, that only gives me one other trade to work with in those rounds. So up in the air about what I'm going to do with that at this stage. Knowing my resume, I'm probably going to pull the trigger on 3, but I'm trying to be sensible at this stage. So I've got...
You are.
No, you are. I've got Usher to Valentine. They're obviously both at 277 at the moment. Usher, as you said, really happy up and about of his first game. Then he was pretty ordinary in the second game, which if he had scored another 10 or so points, if he hadn't gotten that early foul trouble, I probably would have held on to him. Given that his break even would be significantly lower than what it is. Whereas Valentine, you also mentioned this, that he was pretty close to a double and a triple-double. So some really valuable points there that he could be picking up. The thing that I was really worried about with him, and the reason I didn't start with him, one, because he only had one game in round 1, and I didn't want that money sitting on my bench in round 1. And I was worried about his turnovers from the blitz, but with Jalen Adams coming in and playing more minutes and him not having the responsibility of bringing the ball up the floor, that seemed to really suit his game. He is phenomenal in transition and also in the half court, but not being the primary ball handler. So I think he's definitely going to come in. The other one, I'll get rid of Cotton. I've got his subpar captain score. And I'm either looking at Jalen Adams or Will Cummings. So Cummings got the better break even of the two. But Jalen Adams, I think last week was a bit of a warm-up for him, and we know what he is capable of. So if I had to pick one at this stage, just looking at the tiers of toughness, Sydney guards have got dark green, which is the easiest, and a light green, second easiest this week. And Southeast Melbourne have got dark green. So at this stage, I'm probably going to go with Cummings, which also gives me...
Our team's going to look pretty similar.
Yeah. If I was to say third
probably the
one,
extra spare coin there could help you later.
Yeah. 100K is pretty handy, and they'll probably score pretty similar, I think. So yeah, Cummings. So Cotton to Cummings, Usher to Valentine, and if I do a third one, it'll be a cash grab.
I like it.
Probably Clintman down, maybe. Or maybe I'll be go Clintman up to someone with a pretty good break even. Clintman to Sam McDaniels or sideways. Something to think about over the next couple of days. So looking into the next round, we'll go over the games, and then I'll get you to give me a big call for the upcoming week. So tips, home team first, obviously. We've got New Zealand, Brisbane.
New Zealand.
Cairns, Southeast.
Southeast.
Tassie, Sydney.
I'm going to be cheering for them down there on Friday night, so I'm going to Jackies.
Geez, you're a busy man. You get out and about. Perth, Adelaide.
Perth by 30.
Adelaide looked all right for 3 quarters against Melbourne, paying $5.50. I wonder what their line is. Saturday, Illawarra, Southeast.
I'm going Southeast again.
Yeah. Brisbane, Cairns.
Brisbane.
Melbourne, Tassie.
Unfortunately, I won't be cheering the Jackies on for that game, but I'm going to back them again.
Yeah. And Sydney, Adelaide to finish.
Sydney by 45.
New Zealand? I'm not New Zealand. Adelaide's percentage is going to be that bad. They're at 0.86 at the moment, and they're going to lose by 35 and 40. So I've got New Zealand over Brisbane, Sam over Cairns, Sydney over Tassie. Sorry, man. Perth
Oh,
over
heartbreak.
Adelaide.
It's all right, not offended.
Southeast over Illawarra. Illawarra really got to sort their shit out. Otherwise, I'll be struggling for them to win it.
You were hot on them earlier.
Yeah, I still am. I still think they're going to win it. No, Southeast are going to win it. Illawarra are going to make the six. They were just so erratic the other day. They just do not play with. They just could not get tempo right. They tried to speed it up. They turned it over. They tried to play slow. They couldn't get good shot. It was bizarre. Anyway, so Southeast will beat Illawarra. Brisbane will beat Cairns. Tassie will beat Melbourne, and Sydney will beat Adelaide. What's your big call for the week?
So only one different. Only one different. Yeah. Can I have two big calls or one big call?
Just one.
Okay, my big call with this is NBL fantasy related, and this is that if you don't make coin in the first 5 rounds, you're not going to make it later on.
That's not a call for this weekend. That's a call for the first 5 weeks.
Yeah, it's a call. Can I have it or not have it?
This is like you wanting to have a mulligan.
If I can't have that,
get it past the women's two today.
Yeah, well, that was because you put your bag in the way.
You hit it into your own bag. Anyway,
okay.
Give us a call for this weekend.
That is a big call. My call for this weekend is that you really rattled me now. Now I probably can't even have my second one. My second big call was just wanted to apologise to Delhi for kind of underselling him a few weeks ago. So I don't even think that's a big call, but we don't even fall into
bad too. Come on, Baz. You need to go home and practice your big calls. I'm gonna cut you out there. That's horrific. My big call.
They're both good points.
My big call is that Sam McDaniel will be the worst traded in play this week. He's been traded in by a lot of teams so far. He's priced at 113, scored 32 points last week. He's got a break even of -5, which is like he's obviously going to make money. He's not going to score in the 30s again. He's not even going to score in the 20s. So if you're bringing him to make money, you probably want him for 1 week. I don't believe in if you're going to make plays for guys with money, like bring in the bottom price guys or bring in the import guys. No, don't bother with anything. Oh. We'll get on to some questions.
Well, that was a big call.
Yeah, and it's going to be spot on the money too. We've got a few questions. First one from Cam. Should I trade out Bryce Cotton? We've kind of been over that. I'm trading him out. He's going to drop in money. Other players are going to go up in coin. So I think it's just I think you just have to jump off. You said it, you can't get it too attached to players. So ta-ta, Bristle. One for you from Kurt. Do you think the Jackies performed to expectations?
I think the Jackies are going to be so hard to gauge after the first 3 games. They literally have the 3 hardest teams in the first 3 rounds, Sydney, Melbourne and Perth. So I think that don't judge the Jackies too early if they fall 0-3 in the first 3 rounds, because any team with that schedule is going to be struggling.
Yeah. Do you reckon they need to pinch at least 1 though?
Yeah, I think they need to pinch at least 1, and I hope it is Friday at the Nest in front of a loud home crowd.
It'll be raucous, won't it? You'll be on the march. I'll be sitting at home with me. Oh, I won't be sitting at home actually. I'll be sitting in Coffs Harbour with me clappers. Righto. We'll both
have you tour around a bit, mate.
Hey, what's that?
Yeah, come here. No, I just said just touring around.
All right. Yep.
Yeah.
Jalen Adams or Milton Doyle? And a quick why. 1 sentence.
Well, Milton Doyle, consistency.
Oh, you've gone 1 word. Jeez, that's very impressive.
I know, that was impressive.
Yeah, that's
trying to recover from the big call comment.
Yeah. I'm going to go Jalen Adams, easier schedule. Next one. Oh, sorry, that one was from Sam. Next one from Luke. Should I bring in Denzel Valentine or another centre? It's kind of hard to say without knowing what the rest of his team looks like.
It does. It's going to be interesting because I thought centres would score really quite well because I thought that they're more likely to get the double.
Yeah.
But what ended up happening was the guards scored better on the forwards because they got a ton of steals.
Yeah.
So I think that if you're looking for a centre, play it probably depends on your pricing, but obviously you'd be looking at Hook Porty, Jacob Wiley, or Tyler Cook.
Yeah. Yeah. I would recommend that Luke go for Valentine, because I think he's got more flexibility. I'm gonna have a guess and say that he's probably already got Cook, and who was the other one that you mentioned?
Jacob Wiley.
Jacob Wiley. He probably doesn't have him, but I reckon Valentine's got more to offer. Interesting point that you made around the centres. So all the numbers that I've crunched, I've done it for players that played over 13 minutes, so a third of the game. Because you obviously get those guys that come in and play some minutes at the end, who are going to drop overall team averages, but then you got those guys that really contribute in sort of that 15-minute range. So guards overall average 225 points, forwards 197, and centres 229. So
there you go.
So you're on the money with centres should average more. And there obviously wasn't a heap of double-doubles kicking around from this week, but I still think Valentine, even from that.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Thanks, Moneyball.
Yep. They'll make a movie about me one day when I win this car, mate. Righto. That's us done. Next week, I'll be in Queensland next Monday. Yeah, I will be. I'll be in Byron Bay next Monday, so we could have some really interesting things to say on the show. We'll see what happens.
See how we go.
Righto, mate. You enjoy the rest of your tour. You enjoy the Jackies at Nest on Friday, and all the best for the week. Hopefully you can both crack into the top 100 this week. And did you see what the round prize was?
No, what was it?
It's either it's $500 or $1,000, and then $100 voucher for the NBL store.
We're not far off. We're actually not far off.
Well, I was only.
So we'll get one. We'll get one of those.
I've opened the Premier League app and then the Advocate instead of me thing. So I was only 20 points off this week. Behind Spider Pig.
I was only 50.
Do you reckon when
I love the name.
When Stephen Gerrard named his team, he was just singing Spider Pig, does whatever Spider Pig does.
Saw a promotion for Can he fly? No, he can. He's a pig.
Funny. Right, good luck for the week, everyone.
Great movie.
A couple of days, get those trades sorted. All the best, and bye for now.
Bye now.